Hello, Dental A Team listeners. We are so excited to be here today. I have a really exciting a subject today on our content, and I'm actually really excited to talk to you doctors about this and team members, office managers alike, everyone who's here. This is great information for you. I have some offices I'm going to chat about and just some things that they're doing really well, I think, with their dental assistants that's really setting them apart from other practices that I've seen or worked with or other practices in their area specifically. So I'm really excited to chat with you guys about that today. And I have brought on with me, of course, one of my favorites. I love all of our consultants, you guys, but Kristy, I know I just love your heart, like your heart and your soul and the love you have for other people. I love having you on our team. And I think that no matter what content we're talking about, you relate to it in some way or you find a way to love on our clients regarding it. But I think today, I think it's gonna be a really cool one to do with you. So, Kristy, thank you so much for being here with me today. How are you? You're in a new home. I hope, gosh, everybody, if you are a client of Kristy's, I am going to brag on Kristy right now. Kristy does not brag on herself often. I don't think any of us do. But Kristy moved states. She moved states, you guys, without anyone even knowing. I told Kristy, and I will say it again, if I didn't know you were moving, I would never have known you were moving. And I know your clients felt that same way. So you guys, if you are clients with Kristy's, if you see Kristy on social media, you want to write in, like, please give her some kudos because you literally never would have known that you moved entire states. And now you are in comparison in my backyard, it feels like. I know you're still like a hot minute from me, but you're here in Phoenix with me. So welcome to Phoenix, Kristy. How are you guys doing? How was the move? How is your family? Tell
Yep.
me.
Oh my gosh, we're doing wonderful. We're enjoying this weather. I know it's going to heat up pretty good this weekend, but we're enjoying it and just making the most of it. Um, Getting rid of boxes. How about that?
Yeah.
We'll leave it at
Yeah.
that. And getting settled
Good.
in.
I know you went through a garage over the weekend, you said, and it is hot, you guys. Like I was freaking dying this weekend. I'm like, gosh dang it, why does Phoenix do this to me? But I love it. I have to remind myself all summer, I would rather be hot and like dipping in my pool, or my community pool or my friend's pool or whatever. If somebody has a pool somewhere, I would rather do that than shovel snow any time of the day, any time of the year. So I will not complain too much about our weather.
That's right. Amen. I agree.
Awesome. I love it. Well, I know a lot of people, follow our journeys, and I just think it's really special. So thank you again, Kristy, for the dedication you have to our clients, to our company, and to the results for clients and non-clients alike. You really worked your tail off to like, you integrated just family and work so well. And I think probably speak on behalf of your family as well. I think you really do it seamlessly, and every one of us really truly appreciate you. So that's my spiel on Christy today, you guys, and I'm so excited to jump into this. And you'll see it in your newsletters. If you're not subscribed, go subscribe because there's a slew of information in there. And just so you guys know, if you're not subscribed to the newsletters, you should be. Those newsletters, we actually write them. So the consulting team and our marketing team, we put a lot of work into those newsletters. We write a lot of the content that goes along with those. I know marketing takes like one a month, I think, but gosh, there's anywhere between 4 and 6 newsletters a month, and they are written by us consultants. So you're always getting the most up to date, accurate consulting information as possible from there. And then we do utilize those similar subjects in our podcast here. So today we are going to speak to one of the newsletter subjects, but we're actually going to spin it just a little bit. So if you're not getting the newsletter, again, go check that out because it's going to have different information than we talk about today. Our newsletter focus, our subject here is really focusing on dental assistants and new tech and how dental assistants should integrate it or could integrate it and what that looks like and just what we've seen and what we recommend as a company and as consultants on that standpoint. But something I really wanted Kristy and I to focus on today and to really take a look at and kind of spitball between us some ideas is really integrating the tech because I know dentists. I know most dentists. I know the dentists we attract as well. Dentists I've worked with are just like so excited about new tech and new everything. And we want the latest and the greatest. And I love that. I think it's because I think dentists are artists. And I think there's just a huge, massive creative space within dentistry. And for those individuals who want to be in like healthcare medicine, but really have that artistic creative side, dentistry fits really, really well for you guys. And the new tech allows us that creativity and to be up to date. But then on the flip side of that, too, for the healthcare space, you guys really want the most up to date technology to serve your patients and to serve your community. So I think those both of those reasonings are super massive. But what I see, and Christy, tell me, if you see this as well, what I see most often is that doctors are gung ho. They're on all the forums, first of all the forums. And I know my office managers are like, get him off the forum, but they're on there, they're on all the forums, they're getting all the information and they're researching the heck out of everything. And then they're jumping and they're saying, all right, I'm going to get it. And then I'm going to get trained on it. And then I'm going to come back and we're going to use it. And they go, they get trained on it, and then they come back. And Christy, what have you seen in your history? I know you've been working with a lot of dentists. You've worked in office, you've worked consulting. What have you seen most commonly? Doctors getting new tech, coming back. What do you typically see?
it's it's multifaceted. I think that I see them getting very, very excited to implement it and show the patients the new technology, and also for them to use it, like you said.
Yeah.
Yet I think they fail to remember that they sometimes forget to include the team on the training, and then their team gets very frustrated. And so quickly, the doctor ends up getting frustrated because I've invested in this technology, and oh my gosh, my team's not using it. And all of a sudden, it goes in the cupboard, or, they're not using it like they
Yeah.
want to. So, typically, out of the gate, that's what I've seen happen.
For sure. I totally agree. And I have to say, I've been that person, right? I've been the dental assistant that's like, I don't have space for this. Like, what are you talking about? I know how to take an impression. I'm going to keep taking an impression. And then I'm going to take my backup impression because I don't trust the scanner, right? And I'm like, double dipping and wasting time and just really afraid to like jump right in because I wasn't there. I didn't get the excitement that the doctor did. I'm not on the forums. And truth be told, like I'm just trying to survive. Like I'm just trying to get to the next patient, trying to take care of this patient the best that I can. And I'm trying to get to the next patient and keep a schedule on track. And you like flooding this in and you being like, hey, it's Monday morning. Like I learned this cool thing. We're going to implement this really is like, it's like, it reminds me of like a clock spinning. You've got all these cogs and all these wheels, and then you put like this little toothpick in there and it just like stops and it's like trying and trying and trying until the toothpick breaks, right? And then it can go again. But like that's what it feels like when you're in like go 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 and we're going to keep the flow of the schedule and we're going to do all of these things and then you stick this little toothpick in the cogs and we're like no, and we're like fighting against it until it breaks and we're like okay cool, this actually does help, but it takes a minute for us to get there, I think. And I do think that it's just so sad on the doctor's side in most cases because you guys are so excited for this thing and you're like, this is going to change our lives and I just need you on board and it can be so deflating. And so number one, I love new technology. Number two, human nature is to say no and to slow down and to be like, nope, things are great the way they are, even if they're not working like perfectly or super well, they're working enough to get us to the next step. And so we're not always going to be like super on board to just change something. Change is scary. And we're like, nope, I'd rather stay where I'm at because this is comfortable, whether it's right or wrong, than jump on board with change. So in thinking about this as we're writing the newsletters, I'm like, gosh, there's so many things we can talk about with the tech. Like you guys know what that is, and we'll throw it in the newsletter. Like, yes, it's there, but what do you do with it after the fact? And something I have seen, Christy, that I've seen a few doctors this year. I'm thinking one in particular, he's a go freaking getter. And he is like go, go, go all the time. And he pushes for the change and he does it really well. But something that I saw him do recently in the last like year to 2 years is as he's growing his tech, so he's layering on rather than whole new. So he's doing a really great layering effect, especially with like the in-office crowns, instead of being like, we're going to do in-office crowns and dentures. He was like, we're going to do in-office crowns, then we're going to learn to design a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, and now we're going to do dentures and we're going to learn to design. So one thing he's done well is he's been able to see the technology and then scale it back to like a reasonable learning capacity. Whereas I think dentists, that your brains work that way. Your brains are techie by nature to a point. Like that's how your brains work. That's how you got through school. Not everybody is that way and that quick to understand things. Like my kid, he's gonna be an engineer. He looks at something since the day he could start talking. Like, I don't know. I remember him being like 3 years old and he's in the car asking me, like, how does that work? And I'm like, I don't know. Right. Like, and so I'm like, how do you think it works? So then he's like, I think, and he's always done that. Like, he at 4 thought he had figured out how like traffic lights are put together. Right. This is a funny story, actually. He said they take two giant bendy straws and they stick them together and that's how the traffic lights are built. And I was like, yep, that's how they're built. But that's how his brain works. He's got that like engineer thoughtfulness behind it where I look at a traffic light and I'm like, thank God that's there. Like, thank God we're all stopping when we need to stop. I don't care how it was built or how it was put there, just that it works.
Mhm.
So when you bring new technology in, right, you've got Brody's mindset that's like, how does this work and why does it work and what's it going to do? Then you've got my mindset that's like, how do we get to the end? Like, what are you trying to do with this? I don't care the mechanics of it, just like, what are we trying to do? And we get stuck. Now, if we had a bunch of people on your team that thought the same way you do, right? So if we got a bunch of engineer Brodies running around, nothing would get done. Literally nothing would get done. You would just be talking about the process the whole time, about how it could get done. There'd be theories running around and like, what if we changed this? And what if we took this tech that works and we like tweaked it? You would get nothing done. So then we try to take that mold and that learning style and smash it on top of people who don't necessarily think in that capacity. So what this doctor's been able to do is really take a step back and layer the technology and layer the training, Kristy. And then what he's been doing, I've noticed, is taking his team with him. And maybe not all of the dental assistants, right? Maybe the lead dental assistant and like one more so that two people know it. So we're not saying break the bank and send everybody to a course, but he has been able to take like two dental assistants to a course where he's learning how to design something, or he's learning how to use a new scanner, how to use a new mill or a new 3D printer. Gosh dang it. Like, I don't even know how to use those things, right? Because I'm not in office learning, but he's taking them and they are coming back with the knowledge. So then what he's done, and I've seen a couple of practices do this really recently with implant courses and all kinds of new things.
Mhm.
What they've been able to do is now it's not just the doctor, right? That one has all the knowledge. When are you going to train them? Like, do you have time to do that? No, you actually don't, right? Now it's not just the doctor who knows everything, but it's also not just the doctor who's excited. And when you have people behind you in that excitement, one, I think, Chrissy, you don't lose you don't lose it as quickly. You don't get as deflated because you've got people there rallying with you. And two, Christy, I think we can speak to this because we train teams. When you have more people behind the idea, it's easier for a group to follow. One person compared to three people on the same team is going to get everybody else following. So he's done a really great job at that. And Christy, like from your perspective as a consultant, me just like if I was that doctor, how do you see that working for practices that you know? Like, if we were to be able to implement this with more practices where they take them to these courses, how do you think that would change implementation in the practice?
Oh my gosh, huge. And I think you spoke volumes to also doctor explaining their why they're
Yeah.
wanting that technology. So number one, when they can take them to the course, number one, I don't have to spend all the time rallying them and exciting them, right? That excitement's already there. Alls I have to do as the owner or doctor that wants the technology is explain why and what's the end result they want. Here's the thing, many times when you start to incorporate the team behind it, they have better ideas for implementation than we do. And when
Yeah.
they come up with the implementation ideas, holy cow, it's half the battle, right? And
Yeah, that's a good point.
into the process. All the doctor has to do is keep reinforcing why we're doing this, why we want to change, right?
Yeah, that's a huge point, Christy, because it's like that brain thing again, right? Brody doesn't always have the quickest A to Z thought process because he's thinking about every single little thing, whereas somebody else coming in can be like, okay, I can get on board with this, and I think we can get there this way. And between the two ideas, like you said, implementing different ways could really, really be beneficial. And probably, Christy, I would imagine get more people on board too, because if they're like, this is gonna be too hard, it's too complicated, somebody else simplifying it, that would get me on board. You throw something complicated at me, I'm like, sure, I'll get to that. That's my procrastination. I'm gonna get to that someday. I'm gonna do everything else first because it's easier.
Yep, I agree with you, Tiff. And here's the thing, doctor might shortchange. He might think, well,
Hmm.
let's start scanning on every new patient. And they're like, what the heck? We can scan every patient. So
Yeah.
you may also limit what they're able to do if it's just your idea. So in you be the cheerleader, explain the end result and the why, but then incorporate them on how. How.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point because I've actually seen that too, where they're like, let's practice on each other. And then they're like, well, why don't we just practice on the patients coming in? Like, we'll practice on each other for sure, but we've got 16 patients coming in. That's two scans each of us today. And I've seen doctors be like, oh, okay. You just have to remember, I think, and Christy spoke to this, like, you don't have to have all of the answers. And you don't have to have all of the ways. You have a group of people here ready to rally behind you if you let them. And I do think, Christy, I think we both have probably seen this or actually experienced it ourselves as well. When you give people that space to also be creative and to have some creative control over whatever it is, you get better buy-in, but you actually get better, like stronger people. I know I'm stronger when I have the availability to create what I need. You tell me what you want it to be. I can create what that needs to look like to get there. I'm just a better employee. Kira loves me more when I'm bought in, and I get bought in by being able to say, okay, I see what you want. This is how I think it might fit in, and then coming to you ladies consultants and being like, okay, what do you see? And I think to speak to that from the dental assistant space, if you have the availability, you have the capability to take your assistant with you, at least your lead, he or she then can say, fabulous, this is how I think we could train on it. This is how I think we could implement it. This is how I think we could get buy-in. And you've got that different perspective from someone who's living, breathing, and working in that space. And I have actually a doctor. I just thought about this this weekend. I think it's this weekend they're going. He's doing a sedation course, and I know there's a ton of doctors doing sedation courses right now, or they've already done it. I've seen both spectrums. So I've seen the sedation courses. I lived the sedation course that they brought no one and I've seen it. I've the same doctor that does really well bringing assistants did the sedation course on his own, and that's why he started bringing his assistants is because he did the sedation course on his own and saw zero traction. It was so hard because there was so much information that he had to bring home to them that then he was like, we've got to have this, this, this. And they're like, I don't know what those things are. Like, I don't know what this means. I don't know when you expect us to do this. So this weekend, I've got a dentist who's going to a sedation course and I think he's bringing all three of his assistants actually, which is going to be massive because then they're going to be able to say, like, I'll take this on, and really like divvy out those pieces and implement it so much faster. The biggest thing I think doctors struggle with is the implementation process, and it's because they take it all on themselves instead of sharing that love. And Christy, I know you work with a lot of practices, and I know this is like not new information. It's just needing to be heard. What do you suggest for those doctors who are listening that are like, cool, but like I don't know who I would take. And then so I don't know who I would take. And then how do I pay for that? Like how do I budget that? What do you suggest for those doctors?
Yeah, there's two parts to that tip. I think number one, hopefully we're all doing performance reviews with our team and
Yeah.
asking their goals, their professional goals. You know, what are their growth opportunities for the year? If we're doing that, we kind of know the path that they're looking for,
Mm,
right? And hopefully through that, we identify areas where they want to learn. If we haven't done it, let's get it on the agenda to do it. But
that's a good idea.
also, maybe reach out to the team and ask questions. Hey, I'm looking to learn more about this. Who else would be interested? You know,
Mhm.
and before you tell them you're going, but I'm
Yeah,
looking into this, and just see who would be interested for one, and invest in them. And that's kind of what I heard you saying. When the doctors invest in their team members take great pride in that. Like, I
yeah.
know I was privileged to have a lot of CE in the offices that I worked in, and I always felt so honored, and it just makes me a better me, and I can come back
Mhm.
and and implement that in the office and help be a part of something bigger than myself. So investing in them is huge. But
Yeah.
um, yeah,
Yeah, I love that. I totally agree. I think I was honored to be able to take a lot of CE as well, and it really did make me feel invested in and special. And like I reinvested back in the practice. And it's not to say that everyone's going to feel that way or going to utilize it that way, but I do think sometimes you just gotta like go for it. You just gotta say, you know what? If it works out that way, fantastic. And if it doesn't, that's okay too because I'm willing to see this through. I'm willing to go for it. And Kristy, your suggestion of really chatting with the team and figuring out like what is your future? What do you want this to look like? Where do you want to go? Kind of helps weed out to the people who are going to reinvest back into the practice or the people who are going to be like, that was cool, but whatever. You'll be able to tell that. And budget wise, with this practice that I just worked with, that's sending everyone to the sedation course, I make him do a CE bucket. And so when he said to me, he texted me, he said, and when he listens to this, he's going to know exactly who I'm talking about. He texted and he said, Tiff, I want to send this assistant. Like I've already got these two covered. And I said, sure, price it out. What's the flight? What's the hotel room? Do you have to pay extra for her to go to the course? What's your total cost? And what do you have in your bucket? Can you take that from there? Considering also any CE you're going to have in the future. You've already got two going. I don't care if you take a third. That's totally up to you if the availability is there. If the funds are there or you're willing to make that investment out of whatever funds you have, go for it. Just make sure you're always looking for that. So I do always, always, always say make sure you're dumping into some sort of a CE bucket for those pieces. And a lot of times doctors will think like, well, the CE course only costs this much. You got to think of your travel as well. Just like when we come in office to you guys, when we talk to you about your platinum model subscription here with Dental A Team, where you're getting a one-on-one consultant, we consider all of those pieces too when we know we're going to be traveling to you. So that's always considered in the cost of your dental AT membership. So same theory, same thought process. Just make sure it's all bundled together and you know all of the pieces. So Kristy, I think I love the way we spun this one. If you're not getting the newsletters, please make sure to let us know and we'll make sure we get you subscribed because I do think this one is off the cusp of the newsletter and the newsletter is going to have a ton of really great information as far as actual technology. Our biggest piece today, Kristy, I think we nailed it, was really, really honing in on how beneficial it can be to one, layer your CE. So layer your courses, layer your technology, make sure that it makes sense and that it goes in a trajectory that truly benefits the practice, the team, and the patients. And then really making sure if you can get your team members there to do it. Just get people on your side, get people that can help you implement it when they know the knowledge. It happens so much quicker. I can quickly say we did sleep together as a team, we said, and we took two people out of 17 when I was in office. And this was a long time ago, so sleep has come a long way. But two people out of 17 coming back was still really hard. So just make sure whatever it is that you're doing, whatever technology you're about to implement, whomever you can bring that will continue the progress and get people on your side, freaking do it, invest in it. It's worth it. Kristy, any last words or anything you want to summarize that I didn't hit on there?
No, I think we did a good job there. I guess the only pearl that I would say is then when you bring it back into the office, rally together, gamify it. Maybe put a quantity of we're going to do this many, and just celebrate when you reach your goals. So
Yeah, That's a great idea. I love gamifying things. That was brilliant. Awesome. Thank you, Kristy. And thank you, listeners. As always, we are here for you guys. If you have any ideas or any hopes, dreams, wishes, desires on podcasts that you would love to hear more about, or ideas or anything like that, please don't hesitate to write in. We get those a lot at hello@thedentallyteam.com. So send us what you want. And as always, leave us a 5-star review below, letting us know that you did enjoy this. And also, I would love to hear your stories. If you guys are sending team members, taking team members, or you're hesitant to, please, 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 please write in hello@thedentallyteam.com. Just like the newsletters, we do answer a lot of those emails that come through on the consultant side. So just let us know how we can help you, and we'll catch you next time.